Hey guys, thank you for hanging out this evening for our new episode of Casually Christian presented by Livestream My Event. If this is the first time you're checking us out, please remember to hit like and subscribe and smash that notification bell, to follow our latest episodes of Casually Christian. So on this show, we talk about people's lives, their interests, and their passions. And today, we're going to talk to an entertainer. I've been following him for close to 10 years on Facebook, and from when I was following him, I'm just learning a lot of cool things about him. Like he's not only is a singer, he's a producer, actor, and he even dabbed into stand-up comedy. And having my own podcast, I couldn't pass up the opportunity to bring him on the show to get to know his journey into the entertainment industry, and also I wanted to get to know him more on a personal level too. So without further ado, folks, please welcome Joseph Javier Rodriguez. But your nickname is Joe, right?
Yeah, yeah. Thank
Yeah.
you for that introduction. Wow.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Like I know, people are busy with their lives, and for you to take a little bit part of your day to come on the show and just talk for a little bit, I
My,
really appreciate it, man.
my pleasure, brother.
And you're right now, you're like in Mexico, like you're streaming it from Mexico.
Yeah. Well, it was like not planned this way. Things had slowed down, and
Yeah.
I came down, stayed at my uh, sister's ranch near Guadalajara, and
Hmm.
and all of a sudden COVID came on,
Hmm.
and things just shut out. So
Yeah.
I got a house. I figured,
Oh, okay.
let me write it out, and here I am.
Right on.
I do go back, to do some working and do voiceovers and stuff like that. There hasn't been any on camera. Well, there
Yeah.
was one on camera, but it was just actually
I
it was
got you, man.
so that's been it, and still working, but it's it's
Oh,
not
totally, man.
fast enough for me to just drop everything here and leave and go live in Los Angeles yet.
I mean, since you're in Mexico, do you get worried about like the violence over there? Because over here in the media, they play it out. I don't know. Like, I would be worried if I was living over there, just because like from the stuff I've been watching on the news. Are you at all worried about that?
Well, everybody's worried, but anywhere, right here, yeah, sure, there's a cartel, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But usually cartels are after other cartel.
Yeah.
They're not going out. I mean, it's sad and unfortunate when somebody gets in the way of the cartel.
Yes.
That's when you hear things happen. But even here, they say, "Are you kidding? They have school shootings over there." It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. I totally understand what you're saying, because I'm from Norwalk, so there's gangs over here. Like I grew up
yeah,
with the violence, and it's still going on. And my mom, she always trips out because I want to go visit Mexico, and she gets really worried. It's like, you shouldn't go. It's very bad right now, because she gets
well,
she gets worried about me. You know how
yeah,
mothers are. So
yeah, of course, of course. I mean, use your head. I mean, you don't
yeah, of
want to go
course.
out in some place that you don't know, traveling through on taxi, or
Exactly.
a metro late at night and stuff like that. So yeah, but
Yeah,
during
just
the
like stay
day,
away from the sketch areas.
during the night, stay at the hotel. Hang around people and stuff like that. But during the day, it's really good. Yeah,
Yeah,
nothing else.
it's a beautiful country, man. Like I went there with my dad to pick up his dad. It was kind of like a bond. It was a bonding experience, because like it was like the sun, and you know what I mean. And I haven't been there in 10 years, and I'm itching to go
Wow.
back. It's just like a different. The lifestyle is different. It just feels more relaxed.
You know,
I love it.
I thought being in the United States, and especially Southern California, as a Mexicano, I thought, soy Mexicano, and all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. There's a great divide when you start living here. When you start living
Really.
here, you start seeing, wow, we really don't know the actual culture. We
Hmm.
think we do,
Yeah.
but we know as it is. I mean, one of the things that I was promoting one time is taking a show that represented a lot of the regions of
Hmm.
Mexico, because it's very regional, like Spain. And,
Yes.
we just know Mexico by one state, which is Jalisco. And that's
Yes.
just the tip of the iceberg, because we have a lot of Middle East influences, as well as, of
Yes.
course, all European, African.
Hmm.
This is where the marimba came from. So if you don't go to other places in Mexico like Yucatan or Chiapas, you won't
Fully
understand
experienced it, right?
how different. I mean, here's Jalisco, and Michoacan is right next to it, like Arizona to California.
Yeah.
And it's a whole different world, a whole different world. The food is different, the dressing is different,
Yeah.
the way of talking is different. So that's how
It's like a
regional.
different.
Yeah,
That's really cool, man. And
yeah.
did you grow up in Mexico, or were you born in the States? Like, let's
I
start from the beginning, man. Like, where do you come from?
I was born in Guadalajara, Jalisco,
Uh-huh.
and when I was 2 years old, my father had fixed all our papers, and we moved up to San Francisco. My
Yeah.
dad was a very successful businessman, and so we had a business there. Um, my brothers formed a band there called the Kings, and
Mhm.
one of its members was called Carlos Santana.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah,
pretty sick, man. That's fucking
yeah.
awesome. See, like, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
That's really
and
cool.
from there it became Santana Blues Band, and then of course
Yeah.
Santana, which we all really know. And we stayed up there until I was about 8 years old. Then my
Mhm.
dad said, "Well, you know what? I made enough money. Let's go back to Mexico."
Okay.
But after a while in Mexico was really difficult for us, especially me, because it's like,
Mhm.
and it wasn't so much the Spanish. My parents were the type of people that said, out there speak all the English you want. In
Mhm.
here you speak Spanish
Yeah.
and nothing else. They didn't want Spanglish. They didn't want anything like that. If you can't say
Mhm.
it, don't say it. Ask.
Yeah.
So it wasn't so much the language; it was that divide. That we didn't
Yeah.
understand. Why do other students treat me like this, Mom? I mean, why do I have to this or that and blah blah? Because I just didn't understand. So my dad finally
Okay.
just said, you know what, let's go back. But this time that we go back, let's go to Los Angeles.
Mhm.
And when we got to Los Angeles, I went to junior high. And in junior high, they gave me two selectives, either drama, um, um, I forget. Well, anyway, long story short, I took the
Mhm.
drama. They were casting for a play, Romeo and Juliet. And when I walked into the class, the teacher said, well, you want to audition? And I said, sure. But I wanted to pick like a small role or anything like that. He said,
Yeah.
why don't you go for a big one? I don't think I'm qualified. I mean, this is the first time I take drama. And he says, you just go for the gusto first. Let it bite you in the butt,
Mhm.
as opposed to you biting yourself in the butt. And I booked it.
I see. Don't sell yourself short, right? Like, at an early
Exactly.
age.
Exactly.
Right on, man. Like, and what role did he get? Like, was
Romeo.
it the lead? Oh
Romeo.
yeah.
I
Oh,
got
right on, dude.
Romeo. And it was
That's pretty sick.
so good that we started even doing the play outside the school.
Mhm.
KNXT, which is part of CBS, called us and said, we would like to televise it. They
Wow.
televised it. Then Loyola Marymount called us and they said, we would like you to put it here at the university. And we did. So I was seeing myself saying,
Mhm.
wow, I think I got something going, you
I
know.
got you. So you got the bug, the acting bug
I
from
got
that.
the bug because I
Yeah.
knew, I mean, I just understood it right away. I mean, it's
It
hard to
clicked.
describe, but I'm sure a lot of people think that way.
Mhm.
And there was just a different conviction in me that I thought, "Nah, I'm not going to leave it." And so much so that my dad finally, after like 3 years, decided this time I have all the money. We're going to put the kids in private school. We'll be fine. And I
Okay.
said, no. I
Wow.
was 16 years old. And I said, I don't want to go back. And my dad said,
Yeah.
well, you stay here. You're on your own, no family. And
Really.
I said, yeah. And I stayed with the teacher's parents.
Mhm.
And it was lonely. Oh, well,
So,
16 years old. Yeah.
oh wow, like, so, like, your dad didn't want. So basically, like, he threw you out because you didn't want to go to the private school, and you
Well,
started
he,
staying with
he
your.
said, if you don't want to be part of the family,
Yeah.
I get it because it's the culture,
Yeah.
especially if you
That's
don't have
trippy,
that
man.
much schooling. Yeah. But for me, it was, like do or die. Like, do
Yeah.
you really want this, or you're going to go back to the same old?
So you from there you
Family,
just started going.
that's it. I From there I started going. Things didn't go
Of
that well
course.
because I didn't have experience. So I moved up with my brother in San Francisco. 2 years later, I got married. And I was very incomplete because I mean, my parents as well as her parents said, you're not going to follow show business. You're going to get yourself a real job. And I said, it is a real job. Says, well, are you
Good.
making money? I go, well, not yet. I mean, I'm trying to get my feet wet. So no, 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 no. So I had to get a real job. I worked as a sausage maker until I got like up to here. I said, I got to follow my dream. I
Yeah.
go, this is just busting out of me, man.
Yeah,
And
you have to throw yourself fully into it because like if you
yeah,
take like a job, like the job will take all your time, and by the time you're out of work, you're tired,
yeah,
and I totally understand. I mean, unfortunately, like I have to get the job, and when I come home, like I don't want to write because I'm in front of the computer for such a long time, and yeah,
sir.
that's exactly what you should do. Was if you do have the means, or like if you're starving,
Yeah,
to jump into it, especially if you're young, because if you're young, you're able to make mistakes and still recover. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Yeah,
The,
and
the only thing here, I wasn't that young anymore, and I had two kids.
yeah,
But I finally told her. I said, I have to I have to see if this is me,
mhm,
or I'm just dreaming, like my parents and your parents say. It's like,
yeah.
so
And
she
at
goes,
what age did you say that to yourself?
well, yeah, I mean, because it's anytime I told anybody, they
Yeah.
look at me funny, like, really, you want to get into acting? I go, yeah,
Mm. Yeah,
I do.
I think maybe it's like a Latin thing because they don't see it as a real, job,
and yet
which it
and yet
really
they
is.
believe in
Yeah,
in these rich celebrities.
yeah,
So I came down to Los Angeles, got an agent, and the day I arrived, I mean, I had spoken to this agent a day before, not a, I'm excuse a week before, and I said, you know what, I'm flying down. So I flew down. The day I arrived, I called her and she goes, I'm busy right now. I'll call you in the
mm,
afternoon. She called me in the afternoon with an audition. I
yeah.
booked it. If that's
Wow.
not a sign,
That's
it's
a
like,
good sign, dude. Especially like
exactly.
getting an agent. That I mean, because like everybody wants to get an agent, but not everybody gets one. And like you were able to, you know, secure
Yeah.
that.
I was,
And like,
yeah, go
oh,
ahead.
go
I'm
for it.
sorry. No,
Oh, like
I
I, oh, I would like we're turning over our words, huh? Now
go
go
for
for
it.
it.
No, no, you go for it.
Okay, well, I know that you produced a show for Telemundo. From that, you were at a party, and then you met like a producer, which you started producing a show for Telemundo. I just want to look, how was that experience? Because like that's big.
Believe it, believe it or not, it came just like my first commercial did. That next week, my sister
Mhm.
told me, "Hey, I'm going to go to like a tardeada. There's going to be a trio. It's for this lady that works for this and that. Blah blah. Blah. I forget,
Yeah,
but they were very popular. I think in the I forget. I'm sorry,
that's
but
all right, man.
nonetheless, we got there, and my sister tells the lady, said, my brother sings. Oh, she goes, let's hear it. We got to hear it. I go, no, no,
Mm,
I'm not even prepared. I'm sorry.
yeah,
And she goes, you have to come and sing. So she told the trio, we have a guest who's going to sing with us. And so I sang. I sang two songs. And then I came down and this man came up and says, wow, so you're a singer? I go, well, I'm actually pursuing a job acting. He
yeah,
says, I do some writing and stuff like that, maybe eventually get into production. And he goes, well, do you know anything about, Mexico's history? I go, yeah, I mean, culture is my forte.
yeah.
And he says, do you know anything about Cinco de Mayo? I go, yeah, He says, I mean, really, Cinco de Mayo? I go, yes, of course.
Hmm.
He says, it's not beers. And of course, no, no, no. It's okay.
Yeah,
So he says, all right, give me your number. I said, yeah, we'll keep in touch. That weekend, I came back to say hi to my wife, and we went to my brother's house and I get a call. It's like, somebody's calling me from LA. He says, yeah, who got
yeah.
who got your number? He says, I don't know, but it's for you. And it was the executive
It was a
producer
guy.
saying, you start Monday. Where?
Wow.
At Telemundo. I go, what? He says, yes, you're going to start writing the script and we're going to televise it.
Wow.
So get going. You got 1 month.
That's
And it was,
incredible, man. You must have been
yeah.
floored.
I mean, when I walked into the station, they said, this is your desk. This is where you're going to work. These are the people working with you and stuff like that. And I go, what you got to do in Hollywood is you always say yes. And then you
Yeah.
try to
Figure
figure
it
it
out, right?
out. It's like, yeah.
Of
But
course.
that's pretty much the way my life it evolved,
What,
it
what did
just,
your family say about that? Like that you went to LA to produce a show for Telemundo and you had like your own desk and like you were producing it. Like, were they like, are you serious?
uh, my kids were ecstatic.
Uh-huh.
My wife was like a little biased to the parents. Like they were, okay, he's lucky. He got lucky this
Yeah.
time. My
Uh-huh.
parents as well.
Hmm.
And so I figured, oh, okay, well, if I'm going to sit here and listen to them, after all I've been through, it's not going to work. So I
Yeah.
just started saying, all right, I respect them, whatever they want us to think. It has nothing to do with me nor what I want to do. So
Yeah.
um,
You're driven.
that's it. You're driven, and you just got to focus on what you're doing.
Was it like hectic creating that show for them, or was it pretty smooth, or like what were like something that you wish that you learned doing that that you would that you hope that you wish you
I
would have known back then?
I wrote a very good script, and but my saving angel was my editor. My editor says, "Wow, you have very visual writing." And she said, "Yeah, this is really going to help." And we just did a show that was incredible. I mean, when the studio heads, saw it, they said, "You know what? We're going to submit it to the Emmys." We didn't get a call, but
Really?
nonetheless, I go, "Wow, my first program is getting submitted to the Emmys," and it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, so that was great. And so
That's
much so that somebody from KCT called me and they said, "We would like you to produce a show for us." This
It was a
is,
butterfly effect, man. Like
yeah,
one thing, yeah, like when you're so good and like plus also like the personality. I mean, I could tell like you're a really good person, like a friendly person to work
thank you.
with because nobody wants to work with like a jerk. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
like it's also like the work ethic and the personality and just the timing of it too, you know?
I,
Um
you just got to keep on saying yes,
yeah.
and just assume it. In other words, don't be surprised by it, but just like, okay, well, this is where I belong, and it's like, be it.
Well,
That was my beingness. Yeah.
what advice would you give somebody who's trying to get into the film industry or the entertainment industry?
Follow your dream, man. I mean, follow your dream. If you're really, really serious about your dream, the answers, like Home Depot says, the answers are out there.
Mhm.
Is that Home Depot?
I don't know, but
I don't know.
it's one of those guys, right?
Yeah, it's one of those. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
The answers are out there, and so you can get good advice. I mean, from a lot of people, you can get good advice now from Google. Be
mhm,
smart where you get your advice, but nonetheless, there's. I mean, people
sure,
are producing films, like for $5,000. It's like,
mhm,
whoa, But that's because we have good phones now and stuff like that. You
absolutely.
can even start there to
Mhm.
get yourself a good like
A real,
what do you call it
a
uh,
real.
a sizzle reel,
Okay.
to present somebody, and then uh, you're on, you're on,
Do you
and
do you
just
think with do you
keep it
think with
going.
like with the with the cameras, there's an oversaturation of content right now, so it's kind of hard to stand out.
Well, Simon Cowell came. I mean, I'm not. It's to your point. When he came on America's
Got
Most Intimidating,
talent.
yeah, Got
Yeah.
Talent. They hired him. They hated him, right?
Hmm.
But they told him, they said, we're looking for new talent. Yeah, not anyone, but he said it himself, not anyone that could copy talent. There's a lot
Interesting.
of good copies out there.
Yeah.
And so they want to do it. Don't copy. Follow it from your heart. I mean, you got to be yourself. You got to be your own style. You want to do Shakira. Well, that's fine. That's good. But you have a better chance if you just give them yourself. And that only gets to you when you just practice yourself and just be yourself, as opposed to trying to be like Shakira. There's already a Shakira. Nobody wants another one. So
That's a really good advice, man. Like,
thank you.
because it's really hard to, it's simple, like just be yourself. But
Yeah,
it's hard to be yourself because you get so self conscious about like, going up on stage and just
sure.
being yourself, and you try to mimic your influences, but you're not. You have to be you, you know.
That's it.
And who are your influences? Like, who did you admire as you were you were dabbing into the industry?
Um, People like Ricardo Montalban, Fernando
Uh-huh.
Lamas, but even what's oh God, every time I start thinking of somebody's name,
It happens to me too.
Richard Burton,
Yeah,
Laurence Olivier,
yeah,
and stuff like that. I mean, because we don't just gotta follow ourselves. I think we really have to follow the industry in general. I think Andy Garcia said it best. When they asked them in an interview, they said, "Well, what do you think of the Latino actors in Hollywood and the pressure they're getting?"
mm,
And his answer was, "Well, since I didn't go to Latino acting school, I don't consider myself a Latino actor.
mhm,
Acting is acting.
yeah.
So you pursue the job, not the politics behind it."
Of course, man. And I mean, with being Latin, I mean, were you typecasted when you're auditioning for roles? Like, was that
There
like
were
because
times.
yeah,
There were times. I mean, I can't deny that there isn't, uh,
of
you,
course.
racial racism,
Stereotypes, right?
and stuff like that in Hollywood, but that's not Hollywood
Hmm.
in general. I mean, Hollywood is just about telling stories.
Yeah.
That's it. Some people in there, yeah, you're going to find them everywhere. And if you can't just rise above that, well, then you're in the wrong
In the
industry.
wrong business, right?
Yeah.
What
Uh,
is one of the worst advice that you got? Like, getting into the industry.
um, the worst advice was you gotta schmooze, you gotta go out to parties and meet with
Mhm.
people, and of course, get a little closer than you want to with some people and stuff like that. No, 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 no.
Yeah, I
It's
got you.
it's
So
it's the
you're more
industry.
about like the work instead of
It's the
like
work. It's the
hobnobbing.
industry. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're a professional, and sooner or later those real professionals are going to admire and respect your real professionalism as well.
Wow, that's really cool. Like I didn't, like because growing like my working in this like wanting to work in the industry, they say you have to go to these network events, you have to schmooze, you have to be in those parties, and you see everybody's on these parties, but they're not really creating stuff, right? They're just hanging
Yeah,
out and just
yeah.
talking about creating stuff, but like the real ones are out there making stuff happen. You're
Making
right.
stuff happen. I mean, I'm not saying, don't
Of
go
course,
out
it's like a
there
fine line,
and
right?
meet some people, but yeah, it's not about that. But it's great to meet people. But there's plenty of opportunities to meet people in the proper scenarios, as opposed
Of
to
course,
a party where they just want to talk party, not business.
not business. I totally understand, man. And what movies do you love? Like, what movies draw you in? Like, do you like the action flick? Do you like the love story, or do you like a
Uh,
little bit of everything?
little bit of everything. One of my favorite though is the Razor's Edge,
Mhm.
but with Tyrone Power. This is like 19 in the 1930s, but
Okay.
it's phenomenal. I mean, because acting is about becoming. It's not about acting. And you see some true acting. You see their involvement. You see that there's chemistry, and it's so important. There's no copying there. They went out and just gave it all. Don't worry.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like my first kiss in Romeo and Juliet. My teacher told me, he says, "Okay, you're going to kiss her. We're going to let you kiss Juliet." He
Uh-huh.
says, "But don't think about the kiss. Don't think about what." What is it like repercussions there's going to be with parents or stuff like that.
I see.
You just think of the love you have for this girl and leave it at that. And it was so real that even the parents respected that. So that's what happens. People
I
get it. The
Yeah.
audience is very smart.
because like the actors have to be in the moment, like you
Yeah,
have to close the fourth wall, and it's the scene. It's like you're reacting to what they're saying. Like I went to some acting classes, and they really helped me out because I'm a pretty timid guy, and I was trying to break out of my my comfort zone, and like even more so like the past couple years I'm dabbing into stand-up comedy, because I feel like I'm a funny guy.
yeah.
So it's because I'm the guy behind the camera, so now I'm forcing myself to be more in front of the camera, and it's very odd to be like on a stage and just people looking at you and see it's like, all right, let's see if you're funny. And I know that you dabbed into stand-up comedy too from the post that you
Oh
posted
yeah.
on Facebook. I mean, was that intimidating to like because like they're kind of like judging you on your personality, you know what I mean? Like, well, what is this guy talking about,
Oh yeah. Oh, it was something so instantaneous. I just have always felt that, if you think you want to get into something, don't think too much about it. Get into it and see if you fit in.
Yeah.
So I did. I did. One time there was an open mic in San Francisco, and oh, I forget the young lady who was hosting it. But she was a very good comedian, So I figured, what the hell am I doing here? I went to her and I said, look, I'd like to give it a try. And I had some like funny stories and stuff like that
Mhm.
back then, and I tried it. And I got some laughs the first day. I didn't get too many laughs the second day. Then the third day, I got a lot of laughs. But that is what told me, you know what? Do I want to be doing this all the time?
Yeah.
I just said no, no. I mean, I'll do it maybe once in a while if it's called for. At least I'm learning the timing. I'm learning,
Yeah.
the effects of the audience and stuff like that. But yeah, it's like it's a nice job, but wouldn't like to have
Yeah.
it.
No, for real. It's like I know because this comedian, I heard this podcast and this comedian says like I think as a comedian, you're kind of like a truck driver. And you're just going to different places delivering jokes. I'm like, that's a really good analogy. I'm
Yeah,
like, because my
yeah,
my father was he was a truck driver and he was always gone, and I didn't want to be gone with from my loved ones. So I was thinking about, I was like, is that something I want to do? Like travel all over the place and tell jokes. I mean, like I love making people laugh, but like being
sure.
out on the road, is that like, I mean, I'm still dabbing into it, but like I still haven't really like really committed into like being the stand up where I'm traveling all over the place, and
Yeah.
it's and that's really cool that you tried something new, and that's what I'm learning about you right now, that you try to do different things to see if something that you want to do. You're like fearless, and
Well,
I admire that.
thank you. It helped a lot, because I did an episode for what was it, Viva Las Vegas, and also there was another one. Uh, they were comedic roles, and these producers really demanded real good comedic timing
Yeah,
because it was serious, and stuff like that. And I came on, and it helped. It helped because, I mean, seriously, the script called for some serious timing. Otherwise, it was gone. Not only timing with vocabulary, that is, with lines, but
mhm,
also timing with body movements,
yeah,
reaction, stuff like that. I
yeah,
mean, it had to be on spot. Otherwise, it just didn't work. I mean, so much so that they would bring coaches onto the set for other actors. Fortunately, I didn't get one. They said, "You're doing all right. You're doing all right."
so
So,
like, do you think timing, is that like learned, or is that something that somebody's born with?
uh, well, I don't know if people are born with things, but
I mean, they
somehow,
could definitely like sharpen it up, right?
yeah, I think because of who they are throughout time, they figure, hey, if I time it this way, I get things, and they
Yeah,
start becoming that kind of person, or understanding when they need to use that timing, and all
yeah.
that. But yeah,
It's part
yeah,
of their
yeah,
toolbox, right?
sure, sure.
And I remember also watching from your reading from your stories that you pitched a project to Ron Mayer, I believe, from Universal Studios. And I
Well,
wanted to talk to you about like how did that come to be? What was the project? Well, like like the butterflies, the getting into the the room. Like I just
yeah,
wanted if you wanted
yeah.
to share that story with us because it's
Uh,
it's kind of
well,
big fish.
yeah, I mean, talk about really being put to the test. You can't mess around. It's going to feel like an elevator pitch.
Yeah.
But I have a script that's called The Kings, which is the story of the band that Carlos Santana was part of.
Mm,
And my brothers had this band, and they evolved, and to the point that one of the members stayed on with him until throughout Santana Blues Band until it became Santana. Then they broke up, but it's such a cute story, because there were so many things going on in San Francisco at the time, especially regarding music, that when I showed Carlos Santana the script, he loved it.
yeah.
He really loved it. He said, "Oh man, we got to do this. We got to do this," and stuff like that. But that's a whole other story. It's a long
Is he like a nice? Is he like a cool cat, Carlos Santana? Like is he
cool,
like really good?
cool
Yeah.
cat, outside of the business stuff like that. But once it's business, yeah, it's serious business. But
Hmm.
serious. I mean, he's not gonna take any joking. He's not gonna take. And he wants to know the facts and stuff like that. So I pitched that to Ron Meyer, and well, Ron, you know, uh, because of what happened, Carlos and I started talking about other things that my brother had talked about and stuff like that, and Carlos
Hmm.
didn't like that, and Carlos suddenly got real cold,
Oh, really?
and he kind of bowed out, but he says, "Listen, God bless you. I wish you well. Go and do this. Go and do this movie, and I'll give you all my blessings." I
Okay.
said, "But we need your plane in the thing." He says, "Well,
Yeah.
when you have a can, we'll get to that then." you
Okay.
know, and so
Well, it
when
seems
I
like he was receptive to it. If it was
oh
like
yeah, oh absolutely. I mean, he loves it. He still does. And Ron Meyer then told me, he said, "Joe, but why did you start talking about those other things?" I
Mhm.
said, "Well, because I know the cat, for so long. I mean, I felt I could speak in confidence and stuff, of their journey and all that." He
Yeah.
says, "Yeah, but you already had him on the script, and you know how Hollywood is. It's who you know, and so you needed that." Under your belt to move forward. And I said,
Yeah.
okay, it is what it is. I said, well, Joe, I'm going to say the same thing Carlos said. I'm going to wish you luck with this. If you can knock on
Oh,
some
that's
doors, once you get to our, threshold, then we'll talk. And I
mm,
said, okay. I mean, it still left the door open, but
yeah.
I need some more, his,
Pizzazz, sizzle.
yeah, power, behind me and stuff like that to kind of represent me as opposed to just me, myself, and I.
I
Had I
understand.
Yeah, had I just, okay, Carlos, it's yours, man. Do whatever you want,
Yeah.
stuff like. But I was young, naive, just
Mhm.
thought, wow, okay, I'm finally going to do a film. It's mine, and I was all gung ho, and that was a huge mistake, But still, it's still
No, I
there.
mean, like it's it's a learning process, and there's no real like guidepost for it. It's kind of like you have to feel it out. It's like do your
Yeah.
homework, and sometimes circumstances work against you, and I'm like, damn it. So I mean, that's a. What advice would you give somebody who's pitching a story to the big dogs? I mean, is there something that you wished somebody gave you advice when you walked into that room?
You better have like a very catchy, at the risk of sounding redundant, but very
Mhm.
catchy catch. It's like, I didn't know that. One, you better have your facts ready, and you better be open to any like
Suggestions?
suggestions. Like what if we did this first as a play?
Mhm.
And you should say sure. Yeah, in other words, be a yes man.
Yeah.
When they start thinking for you, it's like, yeah, maybe this guy already has an idea. Even if you, no, I want to make it a movie,
Mhm.
it's like Ron Meyer said, it's what gets done. It's what gets done. That's
Yeah.
important. Forget about what you think and who should direct it and who should this, and forget it. Because it's going to get changed anyway, despite
Mhm.
your opinions. So yeah,
I,
I
I
mean,
I get that, man.
yeah,
So would you want complete control of your project? Say if somebody
of
gave you like a
course.
magic wand, it's like you're gonna do this movie, but like do you want complete control, or would you have a problem with somebody dictates like I have the final edit? Would you be
Yeah, and that was part of my dialogue with Carlos that kind of like got in his way. It's like, hey, I'm Carlos Santana and you're not.
Mhm.
you know and I think Meyer sensed that also. Like, like I said, I was naive.
Yeah,
But of course, and Meyer, Ron Meyer told me, he says, once you get that done and you have it under your belt, then you could go out there, and like, hey, but
got it.
not
Well, I mean,
before.
I guess the cool thing is that like as long as they're giving you ideas, I mean, they still interested. But like if they completely shut out, and it's like nah, it's not. At least they're receptive to like, well, how about you do this, right? Is that what like basically that's what you're saying? At least they're still giving you
It's
like
nothing
stuff to
personal.
do.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
it's
business,
nothing.
right?
It's business. That's all it is. Hollywood being Hollywood. Like, you know what? They already have something in mind that they're looking for, and yours doesn't measure up to that unless you know what they're looking for. Just okay. Well, thank you. And walk out. Send them a gift card. And well,
Yeah,
keep me
keep
in
going,
mind.
man. Right, keep on trucking. And
Yeah,
I remember the last time we spoke, you said you were putting together like a packet for Netflix. I don't know if you're open to talk about that. If I
sure.
know like people are like, they keep things close to the cuff, and if you want to share that with us, because I do want to hear like what are you pitching to Netflix if you're gonna have a meeting, how's that gonna be?
Well,
I want to hear about it.
back in the day, I mean, I got Disney. I pitched Disney a program that I wanted to do here in Los Angeles, and it's about a show that takes place in Cancun.
Hmm.
There's a park down there that's called Xcaret. I don't know if you're
I never
familiar with
heard
it.
of it.
Okay, well, it's a big park like Disneyland, and
Hmm.
but it's a park that is a sanctuary for animals, as well as a cultural sanctuary, as well as what is it, the weather, not the weather, but the ambiance. Yeah, I've been
The
in Mexico
ambiance.
too long, right? I mean the pollution and all that kind of stuff. Yeah,
I got you, man.
and so this park at the end of the night has a before it closes, it has a 2-hour show
Hmm.
depicting Mexico's history as a musical from 3,000 years ago till
Okay.
today. And it represents every region of Mexico. So you get a full understanding of what Mexico is.
Hmm.
And I told Disney, this is something that we Latinos here in the United States need to understand, so we stop seeing, Mexico as Jalisco. And
Yes.
they said, well, why are you coming to us? Why don't you go to Telemundo or Univision? I said, because I don't watch Telemundo or Univision. I said,
I
I,
watch
I was
Disney.
exactly. I was brought up here in the United States. I only
Mhm.
watch Telemundo, when there's a ball game, a soccer game.
Yeah.
So my understanding of Mexico is through you guys.
Hmm.
you know, I said, so why would I go to
Why
them?
not?
You know,
Yeah.
eh, and so they said, okay, we understand. So we got the mayor and everybody behind it, but the economy crashed. So everybody had their budgets frozen. Everybody
Mhm.
had to bow out. So I was so the
That
thing
sucks, man.
later on, we wanted to film it in 3D and so forth and everything. So I figure at this point, yeah, there's this show that we could do, and it's a show that is filmed in 3D, and also I'm pitching the script, The Kings. So
Mhm.
the and
Or is that what
That's
you're pitching to Netflix? So
yes.
basically, where you pitch to Disney, you're gonna move. You're pitching it to Netflix. Is
Yes,
that what?
so Disney, I haven't pitched the Kings. It's just I'm going to I'm going to have to
Gotcha.
approach them like Ron Meyer said. I'm going to have to get some big heads
I understand.
behind it and make it happen.
Yeah.
It will. It will. You know,
So
Hollywood.
is there like a checklist for Netflix? Like here's the curriculum for submitting work to us, or is it
Yeah,
kind of like yeah?
there's these prerequisites, that they have in approaching this, but you also have to have options. If you want to do it in like uh, a series, a short series, episodicals, if you will,
Yeah.
or if you want to do it as a film. So you have to have that ready for them when you approach that. So that's what I'm preparing right now. You have to give them those options, otherwise, it's a quick.
No. Right.
There's a more 70% chance no than a yes. Once you give them options, it's a little more, yes on your end. But
I see more workability, right?
yeah, working on
Um.
that.
Well, I hope you get it.
Thank you.
And, I can't wait to see a post that's like, oh, we're making something for Netflix. That'll be really dope.
Thank you, man.
So
Thank you.
like,
Well, step at a
so go for
time.
it. Oh,
Step at a time.
exactly, man.
Baby steps.
One for yeah, exactly. I mean, so since you're a writer, like, do you procrastinate a lot when you're writing? Because I find like I sit down and I start fidgeting with my phone. Do you like how do you break from your procrastination? What puts
You,
your butt
you
on the chair?
don't.
You know?
It's discipline. I mean,
Yeah.
my daughter, told me, he says, Dad, when you start doing that, just write. I go, but I'm going to write stupid stuff, right? But the next time you approach it, you're going to say, oh, this is stupid because you already know where you're going. So
Yeah.
it'll motivate you to correct that. And I said, makes sense, but still, you start getting some wine and you're looking at your phone, and all of a sudden you want to watch a movie on Netflix.
Yeah,
you know,
it's I think that's
so,
universal for like writers, creators, like they tend to procrastinate because I think maybe just like you hold on to it so long that maybe subconsciously, like once you're done, people start like, it's like, well, what about this? They start like picking out things that is like, you know what I mean? They ruin it basically because you want to keep it to yourself
sure.
a little bit. At least that's how I break out my psychology. I'm like, so why is
Yeah.
it taking so long to finish this? You know? But yeah, it's what Oliver Stone said. It's like you basically just have to sit your ass on the chair and just write, and
Get it done.
there's no trick to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like another thing, like I know, like what was the work balance life of being a father and working in an industry? Because like you're working like long hours, and also like you have to be a father and a husband, and was it really difficult juggling that?
Well, it basically cost me my marriage,
Oh,
but
I'm sorry to hear.
oh, I
Yeah,
just, there's other things.
sorry to
I
bring
mean,
it up.
no, not at all. I mean, she and I are best friends now, so,
Yeah,
but, it really gave my kids, and that's what I'm really proud of. It gave them an understanding, because they don't disagree with their mom, and I'm glad for that, because I didn't want to feel like, hey, that's right, and it will wait a second, this might not have worked well. So she's right, but I said, you not too many times you find people driven as that. So if you have something that you want to go for, yeah, either real, it's like Shakespeare says, to be or not to be.
mm,
There's no in between, and so it's got to happen. If not, stay real. Even as I was pursuing, the job, I had a job. So, I mean, that part is true. You should have a job, at least doing something that. And I got so lucky. I got a weekend job. So I was free all week to go to auditions, to work, and that must have helped a lot. But
yeah,
it was a lot of pressure on my wife, because she was pretty much being
imagine.
the housewife, the dad, everything at home. I traveled, I had to work other places, go to Canada or go wherever, and well, what can I say? I mean, but it's not the only career it happens. I mean, it happens
Oh, for
doctors,
sure.
lawyers,
Yeah,
businessmen. you
truck
know,
drivers.
people, truck driver. Yeah.
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 Yeah, I
So,
know, man. Because my mom, because my dad would be like calling loads to like Northern California, would be gone for like days, and it was just my mom for the longest time in school. The teachers thought my mom was a single parent because my dad was never there, because
yeah.
he was you know he was making money. We like he provided like he was financially he was like there, but like it's only like later on in as I got older he started to be more present in our lives, you know.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
know I understand that it's but you know I don't blame my dad because he was making bread. You know, he was making a lot of money.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, it's it's my dad was very passionate about what he did, and if you're very passionate about what you're doing, and you know, like it's rewarding when you see like when you're finally in a project and you're seeing things manifest that you saw in your head.
Oh
You know,
yeah.
like
I
you know, like
mean,
it's totally gratifying. You know, it's like so, wow, this is like it validates your mission in life and the drive. You know,
it
it's
it
yeah.
has a feeling like having a baby because the baby you're creating here is going to be immortalized.
Mhm.
It's going to be there way after you're gone, and and who knows what kind of technology we're going to have then, where people are going to be able to have a choice to go watch it anytime, you know, and all that. It's your story, you know. It's your production. It's your acting performance.
Yeah.
It's you know, and it's like nobody can get in the way of that. So yeah,
I
I
don't know
love it.
if you knew this, but Robert Rodriguez and John Malkovich they made a movie that's never going to be seen. It's going to be seen like 100 years later, and
Really?
yeah, yeah, and it's like the only people who saw the movie is the creators of it, and of course John Malkovich, but nobody's going to see it until 100 years later. So that sucks, you know. Like it kind of bums me out that I'm not going to be around to see that
What's up
movie,
with
you know.
that? Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
just
come
like
on.
it's like a time capsule, you know, a film, you know, and that
Oh,
shoots me like just it's like what you said, like it's once it's done, like either you're writing a book, creating a movie, or paint of art, like a paint of art, it's going to be there, you know, it
yeah,
exists now,
yeah,
and it's yeah, it's something that artists that's you know
yeah,
we love the idea of it living on for you know longer than we are. It's
yeah. And
romantic.
it's really something. I mean, because I mean, I'll tell you what I tell everybody when I write and I go back and I read it. I don't think it's me. I figure that's not me. I,
Yeah.
I I don't speak that way. I don't think that way. What's going on? You know, and in Mexico here they say "se te metió el duende," which
Hmm.
means you know some
Yeah.
wizard or something
Yeah.
got in you and is doing it for you. I mean, this is your higher self, whatever.
Right,
Uh,
the muse, right.
yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
And so um, I love it though. I love it because
Yeah.
I mean when I go back, I mean I start crying at some parts, you know, where I go, wow, and wow, I wrote that pretty well, you
Yeah,
know,
I
like
know.
wow, you know, I'm amazed, you know, but something happens. I think you go to your higher self when you're in that zone, you know,
Mhm.
to coin those.
I believe it too, man. Like you tap into like the ether of the universe or something. You're like, you know,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
yeah, it's trippy to conjure up things that never existed. You know, I'm like, how am I coming up with this? I'm like, this never happened to me. But but yeah, uh, going back, are your kids into the entertainment industry, or do they choose like a different career path for
Well,
them?
you know, my daughter is an actor, and she's a registered nurse. You know, but she never stops. She if there's a play or something she can get involved, you know, she'll or a commercial, she's ready. My son is one of the top promoters down
Oh,
at D Rock,
mhm.
uh, and that's as close. But he's a real good producer. I said,
Mhm.
man, you would be really good producing movies. He says, yeah,
Mhm.
but you know, I just like I like the clubs, Dad. You know, and he does some
Yeah,
real amazing clubs, big clubs. You know, but
I mean, it's
real,
still entertainment. You know,
it still is. It still
yeah.
is. So everybody's
So
got the bug, you know, but we're all like diverse in our own jobs, daily
yeah,
jobs.
I understand that. And what was like when was one of the proudest moments of being a dad, if you don't mind me asking?
Oh man, you know, I adore my kids. So I don't know how some parents figure it out, you know, like, well, this was my proudest. I mean, I'm just flabbergasted with my kids.
Hmm.
My my son and daughter give me some of the advice that I go, "Who taught you that? You did? No way!"
Yeah,
And it's like I'm always proud of them. Always proud of
it's
them. I
cool.
mean, it's like, forgive me, but I lucked out big time. Considering the kind of dad I've been to them and so
Hmm.
forth. I lucked out, so I'm
I
so grateful for that.
That's really cool, man. Like, my father passed away like in November, and
Oh,
I was writing these questions out, and I was thinking about him. I'm like, yeah, that's something I wish I would have asked my dad, because I he did tell me like he was proud of me, but like I wanted to ask him like what was the one of the
oh
proudest moments of being a dad, and I was like, oh, I'll ask this question to him, and
yeah.
it was kind of trippy. As I was writing my questions last night, when I wrote that and I printed out my questions, like I have a lizard and it's on a timer, like the lights, like a 12-hour
Oh,
timer. Like, so it starts at 6 and it ends at 6. But
oh,
it was like at 12 midnight, and I go over, behind the scenes, and the lights are on. I'm like, wait a minute. Oh my, that's not supposed to happen. That like never happens. And I think, I don't know. I'm just like, like thinking that's like maybe it was my dad because I was writing those questions,
yeah. Oh, I
you know?
believe that. I believe
Yeah.
that totally.
Because
Yeah.
I called my mother. I'm like, Mom. So yeah, I mean, like, I just wanted to share that little story because it happened last
Oh,
night, and so like,
thank
but
you.
well, going back to your career, like with superhero movies, do you think those movies are gonna fizzle out? I mean, are you into like those like Batman, Superman? Like you're like, nah, this is getting out of hand,
Yeah,
Like,
I'm not. I really believe in it. I love it. I'm all for it. I don't follow it that as much as I used to. I was really Star Wars, like my kids.
mhm,
I mean, they'll buy all the paraphernalia and
yeah,
stuff like that.
the
Uh,
merchandise.
the merchandise, but I totally believe in it. I mean, the United States. It's funny you mentioned that because back in the day, I mean, bands, used to play like at halls and stuff like that, even like the Beatles and stuff like that. The United States, Spectre more than anyone developed an idea of industrializing music. So
Mhm.
it became this huge machine, to
Okay.
work off of, and they made gazillions of dollars. Well, the same thing with these heroes. People want to hear, want to feel good. They want to feel safe and at the same
Yeah.
time be entertained. And I think the effect really comes on. I love Iron Man
Mhm.
and Batman, and
Yeah.
simply because they're more human.
Mhm.
They have a human side to them, and I, I I love it. I get so inspired by by the way they are and who they are and
Mhm.
all that. So they're never going to go away, especially
Yeah.
in a business that's industrialized like that.
I get it. It's like it's a proven franchise and there's an audience
Right.
to it and all
Right.
that. And I'm the audience because I'm totally like stoked for the new Batman movie that's coming out next month. I'm like, I can't
Yeah.
wait for this. But yeah, that's really like that's really cool, man. I'm glad that you like superhero movies, and because I know some people are getting kind of burnt out on it. And to tell you the truth, I'm a little getting burnt down on it because like it seems like the formula is kind of the same. But I
Yeah.
like movies that break from the formula where like, and that's when I know a good movie is when your heart's pumping and
Yeah.
you're watching a movie, but
Yeah.
like when that's going on in the movie theater, my heart's pumping. It's like, wow, this is a great movie.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And in your opinion, what makes a good movie?
Wow.
You could
Good
take as much time as you
question.
want, because yeah.
I think one is that it touched the heart, that it reaches out and it creates a connection. Uh, Two, it entertains.
Mhm.
Um, Three, that you're not the same person, when you walk into the theater and watch that movie when you come out. To create that, you all those parties have to be on the ball game. I mean, and
Mhm.
and have to be on that vision in order to create something like that. But there are movies like that, so they know they as one would say, get it.
Yeah.
And so to create that kind of movie, yes, and they're popping them out a lot right now. I forget what movie I saw recently. Oh, I'm just kind of having blackouts left and right.
It happens as soon as the camera turns on. I have
I
my
know. Well,
moments on my wait,
it's
what?
just something. It's like, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
But there's a lot of stuff out there that wow makes you think. It's like the series from Korea that
Oh,
is
the Squid Games.
yes, yes. I
Yeah.
mean, these are things that make you think, that
Mhm.
make you understand and identify. And there's a lot of movies like that are out there right now doing that, and they're really how should I say, really stepping out of the box.
Yeah,
That comfort zone to make that message really
like
manifest out
thought
there. Yeah,
provoking, right?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like I think right now with Netflix and Hulu, like the streaming services, they're really like getting into like they're breaking out of the box, like out of the network. They're taking chances on these stories, like the
Sure.
Squid Games and Breaking Bad came out on AMC. And it's just like I don't watch
Huh,
network
yeah.
television anymore. I'm usually watching the streamers because they're producing their content is so good. Like they're like we just binge watched You, and that was really good. It's kind of like a chick version of Dexter. But it's just like I like the movies in the theaters. Like I feel like the story quality is kind of like it's going under, but like the stuff that's being streamed, it's
Yeah,
like it's at the golden age right now. It's really good, like a lot of
yeah.
stuff, and there's like not enough hours in the day to check out like everything that's being like streamed right now. But like I'll eventually get there.
Me too. I mean, right now, at least I have the time. I'm semi-retired, if you will.
Uh,
So I have the time, and I'm loving it. I really am, because I mean, there's some real good stuff out there that I'm not the same after. I mean, and that's the whole idea. I was a long time back. I was talking to Carlos Santana,
mhm.
and he mentioned that. He says, "Man," he says, my whole thing is to play a song and leave people different,
Mhm.
after that song is played. And I said, you achieve that. You achieve, at least to me, maybe
Yeah.
I'm biased, but hey, what can I say? I'm sure
Oh,
there are people out there who do get transformed.
and what's your favorite Carlos Santana story, like that you remember, or do you want to share it with us?
Um, the one that I can remember now, Carlos Santana and his brother Memo, known as Jorge, was staying at our house, and there was a school across the street where we were staying. We lived on Bryant, and Bryant was a wide street, and so he was up early, and I was 8 years old, he was 14, and Memo was I think 10 years old, and they said, "Hey, let's go play kickball." There was a ball in the bedroom, so
Mm,
they were sleeping. We had two beds in my room, so
yeah.
they slept together. And so we took the ball. We went. It was my first kickball that I ever had. Right.
Uh-huh.
So we went to the playground. It was closed. It was a weekend. We went there and started playing, and we started kicking it against the real high back wall of the school. It was like three stories. I mean, three, but school stories are a lot bigger than your regular house story. And
Mhm.
we started kicking it. Carlos kicked it over the roof. I started crying.
Oh,
I started crying. He said, "Stop crying." He says, you look like a girl." I go, "Hey, stop saying that."
yeah.
I
No
was like,
pelote.
"There's kickball."
Oh, that sucks, man. Well, at least
Yeah.
like, did you get the ball back and that was it?
Oh, you couldn't. You couldn't.
Uh
That was it, But it's one of the stories, and he laughs every time I remind him. It's like, he says, "What do you want me to do? Do an Elvis Presley? Give you a Cadillac?" Well, that wouldn't
that'd be
hurt.
cool. Yeah, right. That
Yeah,
wouldn't hurt at all.
that wouldn't hurt at all.
Well,
So,
thanks for sharing that story, man. I really appreciate it. And where can people follow you, like on social media? Are you on Instagram? I know you're on Facebook.
Yeah, I'm Facebook. I put a lot more information. Instagram, I just put pictures up.
Yeah.
So if they want to follow me, it's Joseph Javier Rodriguez. And hey, just ask for to become a friend, and I'm there.
There you go.
I'm
Well,
there.
thanks, man. I really appreciate you that you came on my show to share a little bit of your journey of bringing into the film industry and your home life. And it was a great conversation, and it
Oh,
was
thank
really
you.
fun. And
It was my pleasure.
hopefully we could have you on again for like another topic. It'll be fun, continue our our virtual relationship.
Look forward to it, man. Thank you so
And
much.
well, I hope you have a good rest of your weekend, Joe. And we'll chat soon. I'll send you the link for this stuff. But thank you,
Oh,
Joe.
thank you.
Have a good weekend, sir.
You too, man. Take care.
And for those who are, thank you for those who have been watching. If you guys can go on Spotify and follow us, and go on YouTube and hit like and subscribe and smash that notification bell to catch the latest episodes of Casually Christian. And if you want to produce your own show like this, please hit up my friend Emmanuel Alvarez streaming company, live stream my event. He'll set you up in the same way he did with me. So until next time, guys, I'll see you guys for the midweek update. Have a good weekend, and stay safe.